Welcome back to the second half of today's sessions. And I can see that all of you are well fed, recharged, and excited to hear from our next set of speakers. Aren't you? Are you excited? Come on, you had a delicious lunch. You can do better. Yeah, this group I think had the desserts maybe. But what about the people at the back? Are you excited? That's better. All right, so are you ready to redefine project management? The era of spreadsheets and manual tasks is fading fast, as we all know, and I've been talking about since morning. AI is here to revolutionize how you plan, execute, and deliver projects. Get ready to unlock new levels of efficiency, innovation, and success through today's Unconference session on transforming project management with AI. Our next speaker is a distinguished engineering leader with over 20 years of experience in program management, global leadership, and product development. Specializing in both cloud and on-premise solutions, using Agile and Scrum methodologies, he excels in driving innovation and fostering high-performing teams. Through his unique Unconference segment, which we are going to witness pretty soon, he will help us uncover how to redefine work through AI to elicit the best results. So please put your hands together for Mr. Krishna Joshi, Director, Program Management Technology, Salesforce.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Krishna. Over to you.
Check. I'm just checking if... Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Okay. Now, it may be the desserts that's slowing you down, so we'll do a quick poll to start with before I get down to even my introduction. Everybody here who's had a biryani, please raise your hand. Okay. Everybody here who's had 2 desserts, please raise your hand. Okay. Everybody here who's had all 3 desserts that were served, please raise your hand. Be courageous. Okay. So if you see anybody raising their hand for 3 desserts, watch out. Okay. They are the ones who will fall off their chair very soon. Okay. So watch out. And I'm told by Vinay and everybody that this is clearly a very tough session right after lunch, and when everybody is like fully loaded, right? So with food and such. So let's do our best. But the good part is that this is an unconference session, right? And what does unconference session mean? We keep this very informal, very, very conversational, right? So hopefully that will keep you awake, and then you'll survive and stay awake till the tea break, hopefully, right? So we'll see that. So that said, jokes apart, hello and welcome back, everybody. My name is Krishna Joshi. I work for Salesforce as the Director of Program Management. I'm incredibly excited to be here with you and to talk to you a little bit about how can basically AI help program managers kind of add much more value, right? So we'll talk about that. So to start with, one of the first things that I'm going to basically have us do is to go over and do a poll, right? Like I said, no snoozing. You'll just have to all participate. So what we will do now is that you've heard some really eminent speakers. Mrs. Deepa, Dr. Deepa is here. We've heard Shailaja. We've heard a lot of eminent speakers talk. So I'm going to have you guys participate in the poll and start giving your responses. So we have a series of questions for which we will crowdsource the answer, and we will form a word cloud and bring it up on the screen. So to start with, here's how you will join the quiz. There's joinmyquiz.com, so go in there, enter the code, and we will start. Or you can also scan the QR code, whatever works for you, and we'll start getting your responses. Do I have all of your agreement to make this interactive? Yes, no? Yes? All the way at the back? Yes? Awesome. Okay. Please scan the code, and we'll get started whenever timing is right. We're trying to see how many participants we have already on the quiz. Can't see that. 40 already. 40 already? That's cool. All right. 50. Have people basically shut down their mobiles and gone into snooze mode? Anybody? Hopefully not. All right, we got let's start as soon as we touch 100. That's it. Okay. We'll start. The others, if you're late, you can always take the code from your neighbors and then start. Okay, with 121, we have a good start. So let's get started with a quiz. You have to respond to each of these questions in just one word. Okay? Starting with the first one coming up on the screen. What is AI? Just pick any one word to describe that. Alu India. Well, that's not on the menu. Excellent. So several responses coming up. AI, artificial, I see Copilot. There's somebody who wrote Kyatobi, smart, future, intelligence, etc., augmented. Fantastic. We've heard so many different things since morning. So this is a culmination of that. So I think I'm going to save the word cloud. At this stage of the conference, 4 or 5 hours into the conference, I think we all know what artificial intelligence is. So thank you so much for your responses. But very simply, if I were to basically make of this word cloud, it's just basically figuring out how we identify opportunities to automate operations to maximize efficiency. And that's how AI has come into being. So thank you for all your responses. We have 150 odd responses. That's fantastic. Let's move on to the next one. There's also an interesting answer. Somebody said art of intelligence. So, who knows? Good stuff. Let's move on to the next question. All right. What is Copilot? All these buzzwords that we hear every now and then, let's try and write what's top of your mind when this question comes to you. What's Copilot? Beautiful. I think a lot of responses coming up. One that's topping the charts is clearly assistant, absolutely, or AI tool, Gen AI tool, MS AI assistant, etc. So fantastic answers. Anybody? So I think we've got about 160 responses, so we can stop it there. AI assistant, fantastic. So you guys are absolutely right. Right? Or the voice of public never goes wrong. The co-pilot in different contexts can all be serving us as an assistant. Let's take a few examples, right? I mean, I'm sure you guys all know this. Let's take examples of, let's say, service, for that matter. When there's a customer support agent who has to respond to maybe 1,000 emails that come up every day, they, not a single agent, but let's say if they have to respond to, say, about 100 emails in a day, drafting unique responses will basically take up a lot of time and then a lot of their brain power. So AI has the capability, or there are features in several AI or LLMs that do what is called as draft email, that look at the existing email and draft an appropriate response. Gmail has it. Google Gemini has it. Several other LLM tools have it. So just imagine, just do the math and figure out how many minutes and hours and days does that save. That's one response. AI assistant, and I think Dr. Deepa spoke about this beautifully a while ago, AI assistants can actually act as the assistants to doctors. They are able to look at all of the reports, maybe multiple reports of patients, and are able to arrive at a recommendation that the senior doctor will make potentially to the patients, right? There are X-rays, there are CT scans. All of those can be analyzed, read by AI, and they can potentially figure out if there's problems with, say, pneumonia, if there's osteoporosis, if there's problems like tuberculosis. All of those can be detected and early. And every detection, as you heard Dr. Deepa say, is basically an opportunity to help a patient early and thereby save lives early, right? So that's that, and I can go on and on and on, like AI Assistant and Copilot has got several applications across healthcare, telecommunication, transportation, several other industries. So I'm going to leave it at that and then move on to our next question. What is HITL? I'm glad nobody wrote Hitler. You're going to? Right, okay, looks like we have the answer there already. So it's showing up. So there's somebody who says language model, human in the loop, don't know, pass, language, etc. The loop, right? And that's the answer that's emerging, as the most popular one. That's absolutely right. Don't know certainly is another answer, but that's the whole beauty of an event like this, where we get to learn. So human in the loop. What do we mean by human in the loop? There are opportunities where basically, there could be a service agent who's on the phone with a customer. And when they basically type up and say, hey, you know what, such and such customer has a problem with their router, and I would like to send them a certain response, right? So the service agent is on the phone with the customer, and the moment they type it in, AI will look up and prompt and say, here are the following responses you can send to the customer over email. And the human is looking at the different options and not just auto-piloting, auto-passing on those emails. He's reviewing them for content, for basically ensuring there's good quality, there's basically trust, and the right verbiage and the language. Otherwise, that's where we could break the trust of the customer, right? And having a trust layer is what will make one LLM much higher and much more sought after than the other. So that's why we have human in the loop, to ensure that we have good quality and we have reliability and trust of the customer, all right, of the responses. So that's human in the loop. Let's move on to the next question. All right, so now we're converging closer to the topic. How can AI tools help project managers leverage AI and save time to boost productivity? If you know of some AI tools that can help project managers, type up those names, right? Names of any tools that you think can help maximize productivity of a project manager. I'm hearing Monday.com, Asana, Copilot, ChatGPT, what have you. Beautiful. Quite a colorful set of responses that we're seeing there. Infinity, what have you. So there's a number of responses. ChatGPT certainly, is topping the list. Copilot, Jira are all topping the lists. So Jira obviously has some intelligence built into it. So for everybody here who's used Jira, ever used Jira, please raise your hands. Oh, fantastic. So great. So I'm sure you guys must have already witnessed, or if you haven't, then you will start to witness the fact that through AI-powered Jira, you can basically say, hey, you know what? Go ahead and update all the tickets, right? With a certain type of a problem. The problem could be network related. Go ahead and update all of those tickets. You can just type it in there and say, you know what, this problem has been identified and we'll restore it in the next 30 minutes. Look at the quantum of time that has been saved by just doing an utterance and then having AI do the updates to say about 400, 500 odd tickets. So it can do that, and it can automatically send notifications to customers who would have thereby basically found peace, and they would not keep calling the contact center. So that's so much time saved. So that's Jira, by the way. You could use Google Gemini. Google Gemini, everybody who's used Google Gemini here, please raise your hands. Fantastic. Have you guys, what features have you seen Google Gemini give out that enhance your productivity? Anybody? What was that? Emails? email responses, it can basically auto draft emails. It can, if you use Google Gemini with your Google Meets, that can automatically summarize your meeting conversation in real time. It's very different from transcribing it. Transcribing would mean word by word it's translating, but summarization would mean that it would basically synthesize everything that's been told so far, and it will give you a summary real time. If you join 10 minutes late into the meeting, and if you want to know what's happened, just click on the summary button, it'll show you a summary right there. That's Google Gemini. Google Gemini can also capture action items, right? It will say, Shailendra had a certain action item and it's due as of this date. And, is it so beautiful? Is it like equivalent to a project manager capturing it? Not there yet. But there are certain prompts, there are certain utterances that we can give to say, Gemini, take down this action item, and Gemini would do exactly that, right? Take down the action item for such and such person, say Meenakshi, to follow up with the sponsor on this date about this specific kind of invoice or what have you, and it would do it beautifully well, right? So you just have to have the right prompt. So we are learning and AI is learning at the same time. So Google Gemini can do that, Salesforce Einstein can do that, and there's a lot of other products that will kind of do all of these mundane tasks that Raghu was talking about this morning, right? Capturing meeting notes, action items, summarizing, all of those can be done so that all of us project and program managers can focus on strategic work and start adding value and start contributing to strategic areas, all right? Let's move on next. All right, so that's the end of the quiz. Let's say one more. Okay, JTBD, so this is for later. Let's just save that and bring the quiz back later, okay, for the remaining questions. Okay, let's move on to the next slide, please. Oh, here. Now, we'll come back to the quiz later. We'll go back to the slide. Okay. So here's what we went over. We went over what's AI, what's HITL, what tools and what tools do we have for project managers to leverage. And the last part is probably the most important part, and I want you to basically focus on that one, really well here. Now, how can project managers sharpen their axe, right? It's a metaphor, obviously. What it says is that how do we upskill ourselves to be ready for leveraging AI, right? Now, anybody has any thoughts? Now, here's one thing that I will tell you is there's a number of tools that are available out there. Does it mean that all of our organizations have the licenses and will allow us to use all of those tools? Yes or no? Yes or no? Everybody who feels yes, raise of hands. No. So by and large, it's now possible that organizations will allow us to use all of those for various reasons. Some have, there's certainly a cost involved in there. There's certainly some, they need to try and test them before they can start using them. So there's a multitude of reasons. Now, that said, how do we identify in my job today, what are those tasks that we can figure out that AI can do, and what are those tasks that AI cannot do in the near future? And I can focus on, A, upskilling myself on those tools so I can use them whenever the opportunity arises, and B, trying to figure out where I can add most value. That, ladies and gentlemen, is called, in the world of AI, is typically called as JTBD, right? And JTBD stands for, any guesses? Jobs to be done, spot on, absolutely right, right? So you identify them, you identify a set of tasks, and then we do what is called as JTBD. In your organization, in your context, and it's generally very easy to say, go ahead, use these tools, but not all companies support it. So we need to find out contextually, answer the following quiz questions contextually. So we'll get to answering those quiz questions, and then we'll figure out, for each of you, the to-do list will be slightly different on what are areas that I should upskill myself on and what are areas that I should focus on that AI will not be able to do in near future. So that said, I'll quickly summarize, some quotes from, say, Sam Altman. Sam Altman said, the AI tools are absolutely going to basically help you with productivity, healthier AI medicine advisors. So we spoke about that multiple times during the day. Smarter students, we spoke about that. You name an industry, right? Transportation and logistics. That's being revolutionized by AI already, right? Transportation. Anybody know of any car maker where the car drives itself? Anybody? Tesla, absolutely. Any other company that does like self-driven cars? There's a company called Waymo, V-A-Y-M-O, in California. If any of you happen to go to California, you will see those driverless cars moving around. It's all obviously powered by AI. Apparently, there's hundreds of decisions that we make when we are driving a car from point A to point B, right? Looking in the rear mirror, looking at the side, honking, what have you. All of those decisions are obviously being done by AI right now. So that's transportation. Logistics. Anybody know of companies that are using AI for logistics? What was that? Amazon. Yeah, absolutely, right? Amazon is certainly using that. And Amazon has got what's called as Amazon Scout. You guys have heard of Amazon Scout? Amazon Scout is a small water cooler sized robot that's actually delivering your packages in California, right? Anywhere in about 20 miles distance from the delivery center, robots, there's a pilot that they did, and the robots are basically driving themselves on the pavement, and then they go deliver it. When the parcel arrives, when Amazon Scout arrives to the destination, you have to go there, give it your one-time password, press it, and then the lid opens up, you pick your parcel and go. That said, I'm sure all of you are thinking that this will not work in India, right? So somebody might kidnap it. Well, they have figured it out. There are some burglaries that happened in California as well, and police can arrive, 911 call, the robot makes a 911 call, and help arrives there in the nick of time, in like less than 5 minutes, and so they can still spot it. So the robot takes pictures, takes videos of the burglars, and can basically help them get arrested. So it's only a matter of time that we will also get it, and hopefully it'll work here as well, right? So there's Grubhub, who does exactly the same thing. Robots are delivering your parcels, food parcels, just like our Zomato and Swiggy. It's robots who are doing that in the US. And there's obviously, for entertainment, there's like generative content, which is making movies. There's some movies that are completely made by content and scripts that's been developed by AI. So Sunscreener is one such movie, so I'll let you look up others online. So there's fantastic content. So that's what you're hearing. Somebody flashed a similar slide this morning. I think it was Shelja. All of these companies that we spoke about are all leveraging AI to power their businesses, right? Alphabet, which is a parent company of Google. Microsoft, we heard of Microsoft Copilot. Amazon, we heard a few examples. Tesla, Intel, Oracle, Meta, your WhatsApp has got AI. So AI is not the future, it's already here, right? We just have to kind of upskill ourselves, just like cloud was like 10 years ago. There were apprehensions about, is my data safe, right? Healthcare companies were saying, is my data safe? Insurance companies were saying, we're never going to go public cloud. We're going to put stuff on kind of private clouds and stuff like that, or we'll have our own data center. So they've come of age. So will AI. So will companies in embracing AI, right? Other quotes, obviously, you've heard Sundar Pichai talk about AI, and he's talking about it's going to have a profound impact more than electricity and the internet. Obviously, Tim Cook says it'll affect every single product on the planet Earth will be impacted by AI. That's what Tim Cook believes. And Jeff Bezos, who's Jeff Bezos? He's a former CEO of Amazon, right? So he's now the CEO of Blue Origin. But he feels this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's many more evolutions and many more kind of enhancements that we will see in the world of AI. I spoke about human in the loop. We don't just pass on what AI gives you as a response, you will certainly have a human filter that for quality, for authenticity, for avoiding hallucination. Hallucination as in, AI could be picking up responses from multiple sources that are not authenticated. So you want to have the trust grounded there, which is why you have a human in the loop. So that's very, very prevalent. And over a period of time, you validate whether or not the response the machine gave you was accurate or not. And the machine will learn that it made 10 mistakes out of 100, so the next time it will not make similar mistakes. That's the expectation. Now with that, we come to the last section that we want to talk about, which is what tools do we have at our disposal to kind of help project managers and program managers kind of enhance productivity by leveraging AI tools, right? Some of these might seem like a repeat. I tried to redo some of my slides while Shailaja and Raghu were on board, but I think, here's some common patterns that you will see. One is, any opportunity that you see for automation, make a recommendation. AI can very, very, in all likelihood, automate that. Resource allocation is another area that AI can help project managers in. Scheduling, as you saw, you can put a bunch of dates on 2 columns, start date and end date, and you ask AI to create schedules. Several project management tools are able to create Gantt charts for you. You saw the testament this morning as well. Risks for any action items where there's a high probability, high impact, depending on the risk score and the date. AI can identify risks. Once you get close to the due date of the risk, it can escalate. It can automatically do all of that and help you mitigate risks well in time. Reporting and dashboarding. There's several projects where customer intelligence is used. And I want to basically first call out and see how many of us here have had any background in sales. Raise of hands. Excellent, right? And a number of you. Can everybody who's got experience with sales tell us who is the customer that is easiest to sell? What? Should I repeat the question? It's a vast question, sure. So, which customer is easiest to sell to? You have, say, your total achievable market, TAM size, is, let's say, 5,000 customers. You already have 500 customers. Which customer is it easiest to sell to? Is it easier to sell an additional product to the 500 customers, existing customers, or is it easier to make a relationship and sell to the other 4,500? 500, exactly, right? So the easiest customer to make a sale to is your existing customer, right? And everybody who's worked, a little bit in sales will tell you techniques of upsell and cross-sell, which means selling more or selling additional products to existing customer base. Now, that's where, if you have rock-solid reporting, you will certainly benefit from your ability to upsell and cross-sell. Now, there's a lot of people with a solid, like several, say, 1, 2, 3 decades of experience sitting and telling us which customers you should sell to, existing, new, what have you. Now, AI is able to do what is called as customer intelligence reporting. What's customer intelligence reporting? It's basically getting direct feedback from existing customers, getting indirect feedback based on the tickets that they log, and getting inferred feedback from their usage pattern of cloud applications. You can figure out that the customer came to feature A, they logged into the application, they did a search, then they put it in the shopping cart, but then at the payment gateway, they changed their mind, right? So this is just one such journey. Several journeys can be analyzed. You will be able to figure out, if you're a cloud company, you'll be able to figure out the customer's navigation patterns, and based on the direct feedback, which is you sending them a survey, they will respond. One input channel. Second input channel, indirect. The customers will log tickets You will be able to gauge whether they are happy, unhappy, what's their sentiment analysis, etc., depending on the number of tickets, their age, their severity, and how fast you're responding. And third, like I said, is your inferred feedback based on their usage patterns of the product. Now, if you had to have humans do the analysis of all of those data points, do that telemetry, and then give it to your field guys and your CEOs, CXOs, it would cost you a lot of time and a lot of money. AI is able to automate that today, right? So you know exactly where is your propensity to go and make a sale, to where is your probability of going and making a sale, where are your chances high, so thereby faster revenue, faster. Is that a good thing or bad thing for your bonus and mine? Good, bad? Good, absolutely, right? It's like that's the most delightful thing to do. So those are different ways in which we can organizations are leveraging and project managers are leveraging. So we don't have to spend countless amount of hours doing the reporting. We can focus on managing a project which is getting you customer intelligence. Now, that said, I want to basically, towards the end of the session, I also want to basically do another quiz where there's a series of 10 questions. And for each of those questions, you will have to give your responses in Boolean, okay? These are close-ended questions, so your response can be yes or no. So go back to the poll if you haven't already joined. If you've already joined, then you can get started, okay? 997202 is the code for the poll. All right? Let's see. All right, we have a bunch of people joining already. And while the others join, I'm just going to basically underline what I mentioned earlier, and this is the last section. Last section says, while it's easy to say, learn, visualize, and get excited about the multiple Gen AI tools that are available, we got to be true to our own context and figure out what's allowed in my organization. What are some tools that my organization will allow that will help me upskill myself? And what are some tools that I can learn for future? I just want to sharpen my axe. And what are other areas where I should basically focus on contributing to strategy or kind of honing my skills on? So you will be able to come up with your own checklist, and this can be very unique to yourself to figure out where to focus so that you can quickly jumpstart on your AI journey. All right, that said, let's get started. We have 150 people, so let's get started with the poll. First question coming up on your screen right now is, for taking meeting notes, action items, or meeting summaries, can you use AI? Can this basically go away? Okay, 133 people say, yes, this can be spot on. We spoke about this multiple times. Now, based on the future responses, I want you to start forming a pattern in your mind and tell me, what kind of tasks do we all think can AI take away from us and free up our bandwidth, okay? So just keep that theme in mind. Next question, please. Following up on action items, can AI do this or not? A 150 people, close to that, have said, of course it can, and that's absolutely right. Let's move on to the next one. Quite a dramatic music we have there. All right, can AI identify and flag risks? Absolutely, a resounding response of 160 responses that say yes. You have a certain task that's due as of yesterday, still not done, flag it as a risk. Can AI do that? Of course, it can read data, analyze, flag, send it up to, depending on the thresholds that you can set, it can send an escalation to 1 level, 2 levels, 3 levels that you can predefine. So absolutely right. Perfect. Let's move on to the next one. There's 10 questions in all. We are done with 3. Can AI help schedule meetings? 162 people said yes, and there's a tiny set of people, there's a small set of people, 7 people said no. If you tell AI, and remember, in all of these, we're not expecting AI to do completely setting up of meetings on its own whim and fancy. What AI needs is called as prompts from the user. If we tell AI and say, hey, can you please set up a meeting with Venkat? Can you set it up with Vinay, Dr. Deepa, and everybody, and Khandekar, and sir, and everybody, it will do it. So it requires the right prompts, okay? And hence, so much demand for prompt engineering. Let's move on to the next question, please. Can AI help prepare a timeline chart? And can AI also help you with creating dashboards and reports? All of these are a part of our job today, right, as program project managers. Absolutely, yes. And what inputs does this need from us to prepare a timeline chart, dashboard, and report? Does it require any inputs from us at all? It does. So those are the right prompts that you need to give, the right data that you need to feed with, and then it will consume the data and prepare these for us. So this part of the job can also be done, right? Let's move on to the next one. All the answers say, okay, so you might end up feeling that what's left for us, and we'll talk about just that, okay? Facilitating a retrospective. There you go. Okay, now with that sentiment, the answers seem to have changed a little bit, right? So some people feel that yes, AI can do a retrospective. Some people feel that not there yet, right? And the answer may be somewhere in between, right? We might be able to do this partially by trying to solicit some responses ahead of time. AI, you can schedule and say, go solicit responses from this Scrum team. It will go fetch it from your project management tool, and we can figure out, and it will send a poll, we can get the responses, and that can be your starting point for basically the right conversations. And they say retrospective is not best done by a tool. Retrospective is a full body exercise, which means there's obviously a lot of your signals that you will get from how the team is, how their morale is, how they're feeling about the work that they did is more non-verbal than verbal. So you will get some data points that can be a starting point for your retrospective. Does that make sense? Yes, no? Yeah? All right, let's move on to the next one. Now we see that there's a slight shift in how we think AI can help. And you will realize exactly where you can add value. Can AI help facilitate a product briefing summit where you read out all the epics and features and the vision, roadmap, etc.? Now you see the graph shifting very clearly, right? You could still do this partially by socializing and saying, schedule a meeting with this specific org, send out information about all of the epics or what's the vision, the roadmap, and the list of epics, top 10 priorities. You can do that. But then trying to get the interactive Q&A, that also to a certain part can be done, but not all of the, basically getting people together, having some fun, interactively asking questions, building relationships, all of that will certainly require humans in the loop. And from this point on, from the previous question on, you would have seen that the human in the loop is basically, you need more of a human muscle there, right? These, ladies and gentlemen, are the areas for you to work out, which means, in the gym, if you want to build a certain muscle, you go work out on those body parts. Similarly, these are the areas in your JTBD, jobs to be done. These are areas where a lot more of a human touch, a project manager's finesse is required. Let's move on to the next question. Right, I guess we are almost on top of time, so I'm going to conclude shortly. Bringing people together for team building. How excited will we all be if the next PMI conference is nobody contacts you, it's just AI sending you alerts, right? Clearly, right? Bringing people together where there's a human aspect of it, where there's emotions involved, you certainly need project managers to step in. Let's go to the next one. I guess that's the last question after this. Pitching new features, epics, ideas, making funding decisions. Will you tell AI that it is approved, or would you rather trust a product manager to come in and say, I feel convinced, I've done the market research, I've done the competitor analysis, and we have a total achievable market of this size, and my neck is on the line, I'm willing to put my neck on the line. So which one? Very clearly, the answer is you need a human here, you need project managers, product managers to chip in. Let's move on to the next one, please. Release planning facilitation. All right, clearly so. I think, the verdict is out, the jury is out. Certainly you require a lot of human intervention. Now that said, these answers, especially in the second half of this session or even in the first half, there's no right or wrong answer. It's very, very contextual depending on what each of our organization allows, has licenses to do, has given us permissions to do. So each of us has to do our own jobs to be done. You can strike off things that you are allowed to leverage AI on as soon as you've enhanced and achieved those skills. For the others, we will certainly have to kind of keep building our muscle and focus more on learning the art side and science side of that. That's JTBD for you. And I think that was pretty much the last part of the section that I wanted to cover. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my time here. Hopefully you were able to take a leaf or two from this. Thank you so very much for your participation. It's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Krishna. That was a really unique session, I'm sure, for most people. And also, personally, I got to learn a lot of new terms. I haven't heard of many of them. And for me, what I found very exciting was that you gave a lot of use cases for AI in the future, even letting us envision how these could be adapted to India and the unique landscape that we have here. For that, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah? Yes. So now maybe you can stay for a second. Yes. So I'll request Manohar, our Vice President, PMI PCC, to present Krishna with a memento as a token of our gratitude.